everyone. This is the Fantastic Friday Message. This is certified personal growth and development coach and certified law of attraction specialist Keith Young here. Today's message is a little bit longer than normal, and this is one of the lessons that I teach in my 12-week program on awakening your true self. So today's message is, what stories and beliefs drain your personal power? You see, we all tell ourselves stories which create our beliefs about who we are and about how much success we can have in our life. Every one of us gets triggered by different things, and every one of us has stories that we tell about ourselves. From those stories, we create beliefs about how the world works or should work in relation to us. This power-draining pattern will often keep us stuck at a certain level until we use the power of awareness to see clearly that we are telling stories. People around us are more willing to give us advice about anything we ask for, and sometimes what we don't ask for. We seek advice from people that we may want their opinion of what we are doing, and sometimes we need to let those people go. Be careful here, though, about trying to remove everything from our lives that forces us to examine ourselves more deeply. You see, we aren't really addressing the real issue here, and often we'll continue to attract it until we actually face that issue. There are many things that can go into certain triggers that we have in our subconscious mind. And trying to change everything in our life sometimes can feel like we're going to the movies and deciding that maybe you don't like the movie, so you try changing the movie by running up to the movie screen and pounding on it. The source of the storyline of the movie isn't whoever wrote the storyline, or is whoever wrote the storyline, rather. The source of the results in your life that you are currently getting is you. A lot of people go wrong with trying to use the law of attraction. They are asking for improvement in areas of their lives, yet are holding themselves in a vibrational difference to what they're asking for. Then they try to use their action to make up that difference, and that's why they get so frustrated. Your personal power, yes, each one of us has a personal power in our life. Your personal power comes from your emotional body, your mental mind, and your physical body. Most people usually end up giving away these energies to things that trigger us throughout the day until we're literally drained of any sense of personal power whatsoever. Then we wonder why we cannot get things done. You want to discover the triggers that drain you, because when you discover those triggers, you discover the untrue story you've been telling yourself, and then have the opportunity to clear out that old story until you become conscious of your triggers in your stories. And that's the key word there, conscious of your triggers. You will continue to let yourself be drained and continue to tell yourself a story that you just aren't good enough to have any kind of success in your life. So what is a trigger? It is any circumstance or event that causes you to consciously or unconsciously give your power away to that circumstance. This trigger can set off a chain of reactions inside of us that can sabotage our progress or just completely deplete us. Let me give you a couple of examples here. Your book proposal gets rejected for the second time, and you just end up lying around watching TV for a week. Or maybe you have a potential partner that you're trying to get a business started with, and he doesn't return your calls, and you get angry and defensive and just walking around making up fake things that you could say to them, wasting hours of time that you could be working on something. So be careful, and you can insert anything you want there. Instead of, your book proposal gets rejected, maybe you're trying to get a job done and it gets frustrating and you're depending on someone else and they don't follow through. And then you will give your personal power away by getting angry at that person and start all these fake things going on in your head about exactly what this other person is doing to you. Maybe you get cut off in traffic. You start swearing at this person, and drivers are so inconsiderate. You're giving your personal power away. Do you see how that works? So what is a story? A story is something that you've told yourself about yourself for as long as you can remember. Many of these stories keep us trapped in old patterns forever. There are people who can experience the triggers described above and yet not get triggered by them. They don't have a story that hooks them into that situation, as the story makes the trigger a trigger, not just a thing that happens. Some common stories that we tell ourselves are, I'm just a disorganized mess and will always be irresponsible. Or I'm not good at handling money and will never have a lot of money because of that reason. Or I'm a total fraud. Or I'm never good enough no matter what I do. Never anything is good enough for what I do. These stories were written by you when you were too young to have the skill sets to deal with them. And until you bring awareness to these stories, our pasts are essentially running our personal power, and that does not serve you today. So, what you want to do is find out what triggers you in certain circumstances or situations. Become aware of these situations and circumstances that bring them out in emotional response from you. What's the story you are telling yourself at that time? Write it down, and how you react and how you typically respond when triggered in that way. Then finally, write your new story about how you want to react in that situation or circumstance. What is the result you want when this circumstance or situation actually comes up again? See yourself living that result already. And when you become aware when that situation comes up and you get triggered, then you can choose to react differently than you have been in the past, breaking that old pattern because you've written a new story to tell yourself so you can become the person you want to become. So I hope this has helped a little bit about how we drain and give away our personal powers. So there's always a free audio on my website. The website's listed there on how to manifest abundance and success into your life. Please give me a comment here and give this video a like as well. And as always, I wish you much abundance and prosperity. See you on Monday.